Welcome to spooky season, everybody.
Spooky season is upon us. We are finally in October. And though it doesn't seem too spooky yet because of the fucking weather.
July, yeah, I was just saying, it feels like July.
It is still spooky season. The Halloween costumes are out in Walmart. The Halloween candy is up. My favorite thing of all.
The razor blades are hidden in the candy.
Yes, parents, make sure to check your kids' candy here in 29 days. But my favorite thing of all has finally rolled out into stores. The pumpkin Debbie cakes.
Oh.
Do you know the one I'm talking about?
The ones that are just...
They're shaped like a pumpkin, and they're filled with like a pumpkin filling. Those...
The only ones I like more than those are the Christmas tree ones.
Yes.
Those are the two best ones, and they're both like holiday exclusives.
Yes. Yes. Those are... I almost bought some the other night.
I did.
I
ate a whole box in a night.
I would have too. We were in Athens, Tennessee. We were visiting.
You should have bought one. There's no reason.
Right. Visiting the mother-in-law, the soon-to-be mother-in-law. Went to the movies, went to Walmart afterwards, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's finally out!" And I was like, I gotta get them. But I was like, I can get these at home. I can get these whenever I want. No need to rush. Spooky season's just about to start.
Yeah.
I can hold off.
Just buy 6 boxes.
You're exactly right. I'm gonna buy as many boxes as I can because they're only a couple bucks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if the dollar store has them, and I'm gonna have me a fucking field day on some pumpkin Debbie cakes because they are my favorite.
And they're definitely worth it.
I ended up walking out of Walmart with some maple flavored Oreos. They're not bad. Only negative thing about it is, well, there's two. One, they're the vanilla cookie. I'm not too big on those. And the cream was very, very gritty. Because the way I eat Oreos two ways, ladies and gentlemen. I either put them in, I crush them up and eat them like cereal with a bowl of milk.
I thought you were about to say I crush them up and snort them.
Or I eat them the way anybody eats an Oreo. They pull them apart and lick the cream and then eat the cookie. That cream was terrible. Tasted good, but it was terrible.
Terrible texture, but it tasted good.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be a little series that we're going to have here. Not exactly sure how it's going to fold out, but since it is the start of spooky season, we figured we would share some scary stories that we've been through. They may not be
as scary for you, but
they were scary for us at the time. Or for me, I haven't really experienced a whole lot of like scary issues, but I do have a couple stories that I was told as a kid that I could pass along to you. So that's basically what this episode is about.
And then we have 2 shared stories that we were both there.
Derek is going to tell those because nobody tells a story quite like Derek Rich over here. Mainly because they get drawn out, and he adds that flavor. You add flavor.
To be fair, one of the stories, I feel like I do need to tell it because I was the most immediate in danger.
Yes, he was. We were all in danger, but he was definitely... He was the main guy. He was, yeah, we'll get to that. So,
you want to start it?
I'll start off. I'll start off with a scary story that I was told when I was younger, and I've always passed it along to some friends when I was younger. All right, so there's this kid, and he's what?
I was gonna say just for reference for everyone that maybe can't hear the background, we're outside, so
yeah, we're in my backyard, and my backyard is surrounded by trees.
And it's dark as fuck.
Yeah, and we are in Hickville. At least this side of the county isn't as bad as other parts, but this one's up there. But anyway,
so we might get spooked out ourselves.
Yeah, we might. I might hear something. I might see something. Who knows? This one will be a little bit of a quicker episode for you guys. So I'm gonna start now. So there's this kid, and he's say about a teenager. He's younger. He's like in middle school, early high school, and he's upstairs and he's trying to go to sleep. And he hears on his window, and he's just like, what's going on? So he opens the curtain, and he sees this old lady's face, and he like freaks out. He closes his curtain. He starts screaming for his parents. Mom, Dad, they're not coming upstairs. So he runs downstairs, and he's freaking out, and his dad's just like, it's time to grow up. It's time to stop being scared of things. Go back up there and go to sleep. So, he listens to his dad. He agrees, yeah, it's time to grow up. So he goes and lays down again, and he's starting to fall asleep. He's right there. We've all been there. We're about to fall asleep, and it seems like every time we always hear, or we hear something. So he hears. He starts to freak out again. Well, he opens the curtain, and there's that woman. And he closes the curtain, and he screams, and he screams, and he screams, and his dad comes upstairs, flips on the light, and he's just staring at him, and he's like, hey, go to sleep. I'm about to go to sleep for work. You got to get up for school. We can't do this anymore. Just go to sleep, and everything's going to be fine. And so this time, he finally does fall asleep, and he's probably been asleep for maybe about an hour or two. And just as the first two times. So he looks, opens the curtain. It's that lady again, and he's freaking out. He's screaming. Well, his parents come in there, and he's still screaming, and he's crying, and he's covering his face, and his screams are muffled, but they're still loud. Well, his dad finally gets him to turn and looks at him. That old lady's face is now on his body. That story used to scare the shit out of me.
Yeah, I can definitely see why.
I remember I told it to a friend, and it was back in the day when all the guys were, close with their friends, and they'd share the bed. It wasn't, like, oh, that's gay. It was just, yo, bro, I just want to sleep.
Yeah.
I told a friend that, and it just so happened to be that his side of the bed was at his window when I told him. And I would fuck with him as he was trying to sleep, and he'd get freaked out. So that's one that I've always shared. It scared me the most as a kid when I first heard it. That's really about the only scary story. If you want to hear one from me, golly, I wouldn't really say it's scary.
Or it's, spooky, anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, something to freak out about. If any of my family over in Texas is listening, this one's mainly for y'all. There was this guy, his name was Shawn, and he was always, when I was growing up, we were always told that he stole panties off of clotheslines and everything. So we were always made to fear him. And so we would always play hide and seek, but we would call it Shawn. And we would always just be scared. And I remember one time we were playing, and all you heard was somebody banging on the door. And we were home alone. We were all alone at my aunt's house playing. And all you heard was somebody banging on the door and wiggling the doorknob, and you can kind of see out the little glass on their door, and it was a man's body that you saw. And so we all freaked out and thought that it was this guy, and he was coming in to mess with us. So that's really the only scary thing I've been a part of outside of the one with you. That really fucked me up. I think it fucked everybody up that was a part of it. The ghost lot. Okay. That's the ghost truck, not the ghost light, but that's just really what we call it. I don't know. I don't really Actually, I lied. There was one time I was in 5th grade, 3rd grade, might have been 3rd grade, 3rd or 4th grade. I lived in an apartment, so you had your designated bus stop, which was right up front at the what do you want to call it, the community center of the apartment complex. And I'd leave my apartment, walk around the block to my sister's friends, and I would get her little brother, and I would walk with him to the bus stop. And this was probably the scariest moment of my life. This was the first time that I've ever seen like a ghost or anything like that. So we got back to where my apartment was, and when you're there, if you're looking straight ahead, there's the playground, there's a volleyball court, and then of course there's more apartments. So we start walking up. We're probably about halfway to where the bus stop is, and for some reason, I don't know why, I just felt like I had to turn around. So I turned, and all I saw past my apartment, but close enough to see, of course, was just this big black mass, just like floating, or not really floating.
No, I get what
but it was like standing there. And I'm like, hey, do you see this? And he saw it too. And that's how I knew something was up. And like, we're just kind of standing there looking at it, and we got time, we're not going to miss the bus by any means. And we're just standing there like staring at it, like freaking out, trying to see what it is. And it kind of looked like a hologram is kind of what it, and back then is what I saw it as. Kind of like a little 3D.
That's the only way you can relate it. Yeah.
It's kind of like a 3D looking type thing, a little hologram. And I'm just like, man, what in the world is going on? And like I said, he's younger than me. I think he's like in kindergarten. So we're staring there just like looking at it. And next thing you know, it takes off towards us. And it's like booking. And I'm just like,
oh hell no!
Yeah, I'm like, So I grabbed him, and I was like, we're running, and we took off. And then a couple minutes later, we're at the bus stop, and I like turn and look, and there's nothing there, but somebody's walking up, and I'm just like, in my head, I thought, well, today if it was me, I'd have been like, holy shit, this dude is, like, he's like a ghost or whatever. So that's probably the biggest, scariest thing of my childhood that I can think of, and it traumatized me pretty bad. I didn't want to walk to the bus stop anymore. That's for sure.
Yeah, understandable.
But yeah, I don't do ghosts. Well, ghosts I'm cool with. I don't do demons or the devil, anything like that.
But before we go any further, personally do believe in supernatural, or like the supernatural. Do you? Because I know a lot of people don't.
I do, but I hate to say it this way. It's because of like my I guess you could say my ethnicity.
No,
like I think
that makes sense.
Because growing up, me and all my Hispanic friends would talk about it. Maybe they remember if they hear this, or maybe I could get in touch with one of them. They all had a house in Mexico.
Are you about to
and
talk about what I think you're about to talk about?
They always had that designated room where, like, well, you don't know what I'm talking about?
Do I want to know what you're talking about?
There was like a room in the house that would have a picture, either a cross or a picture of Jesus on the wall, but it was the demon room. Like, if you got put in there, like, you would feel somebody sitting on your bed while you're sleeping. You felt a presence over you. And the only time you slept in that room was if you were in some deep shit. And yeah, and so that's why I'm saying, like, I think that, like, my race group is the reason why, yeah, I believe in, like, the supernatural, because everyone that I've talked to growing up, all my friends, that's the stories we always shared. And you know me, I don't like to go inside of a church at night. If it's empty, I don't like. I've done it, but I'm creeped out the entire time.
Yeah, I have a really short story about that. Like, I used to go to a church in Chatsworth, Smyrna Gospel Tabernacle.
Is that the one that's on 225?
I think it's on Smyrna Church Road or something.
Okay,
it might be on 225.
Because I know there's two Smyrnas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This church is pretty old, and the basement is the rooms they used for all the, like, kid classes.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, kid and, like, teens, whatever. But whenever they would do, like, what's it called when everyone, like, a reunion or whatever?
Homecoming?
Or homecoming, yeah. Well, one time they sent all the teens down there to get the rooms ready for homecoming. And the teen room, like the room the teens used, they wanted me to go turn the light on. And the thing about it, compared to all the other rooms down there, all the other rooms are on one hallway. And they're all, like, connected off of that hallway.
Yeah.
The one the teens used was a separate hallway that came off and ran parallel. And it had a door at the end, and the door went into a room, obviously.
Yeah.
After this happened, I would never go back to that room. I went to that room to go I went to that hallway to go flip that light on. The last person that was down there said that door was open.
Huh.
I got down there, and there was a poster of Jesus on that door. Because there's no windows on that hallway. When the lights are on, it's pitch black.
Yeah.
I looked down that hallway, and there's just two glowing eyes where Jesus' eyes would be.
Wonderful.
Two glowing red eyes. I flipped that light switch and got out of there. Like, ever after that, I never went down to the basement unless there was, like, at least 3 to 4 other people with me.
Yeah.
No. And that's the reason I don't like going to churches alone.
Well, I just know the last time that I was in a church by myself was that one time when we went rafting.
Oh, and we heard something?
No, you weren't there. I was there rehearsing a song.
Oh, okay, yeah.
With Kennedy, and she had to leave. And I'm like, well, I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to rehearse just to make sure that, you know, I get my stuff right, and I can perform to the best of my ability. Well, I was there alone maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and, you know, I've got music blasting because that's what I was working on. But for some reason, I still felt like something was in the room with me, or in the church with me. I can't just say room because, you know, I'm in the
fellowship.
No, not the fellowship hall, but the actual part of the church, the worship center or whatever you want to call it. I know there's a technical term, but I can't think of it right now. But that's where I was, and yeah, you can say, oh, well, of course, if something was in there, you know, it was an angel or, you know, it was God or whatever, but that's not necessarily true, because where there are good spirits, there's bad spirits.
Yeah, especially, like, you were talking about Mexico a minute ago. I've heard all those old churches there are haunted.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, when you look into Mexican culture, you know, you've got El Cucuy, which is the boogeyman, and you got La Llorona, who's the lady that drowned her kids. Well, when you grow up listening to stories like that, I mean, yeah, of course, you're going to, one, you can think that they're real, and two, you're traumatized by it because you're a kid when you're hearing those type of things. And like I said, having those discussions with friends when I was younger, that their house in Mexico had a room basically for that, and that's where you were sent if you were in trouble.
I would have cried.
You know, it kind of makes you freak out whether it's true or not. I mean, I don't know, because obviously I don't have a house in Mexico. I haven't talked to one of my friends about anything like that since then, since we were younger. But just thinking about that, and, you know, it's the same way in Hollywood that have these, that are like, you know, possessions or movies that involve spirits and demons. There is like a certain room where, you know, everything happens. So it kind of, in my mind, it kind of makes sense, and that's why I don't really deal with like spirits and demons and things like that, just because, you know, like I said, that's being in a church by yourself makes you feel uneasy, because I mean, an evil spirit can get in there just as easy as a good spirit.
Yep.
And in my opinion, if you're alone in the church and you're scared, there's not a good spirit there with you. But that's just my take on that.
I have two quick stories before we get into the main ones. These are one isn't me, but it's one my cousin told me. And if she would have told me when her daughter was younger, so my younger cousin, I would have told her to make sure she never talks to this person again. Apparently, whenever, I think you've met Macy, haven't you? Macy and Zane, my little cousins.
Yeah.
Brittany and Zach's kids. Okay. Apparently, when Macy was little, before Zane was born, and Macy would take baths, a woman in white would come and talk to her. And as soon as my cousin started telling me this story a few weeks ago, I instantly got chills up my arm. I was like the first thing I thought of was like, La Llorona. I was like, yeah, she was like a dark-haired woman and all white, and talked to her while she was taking baths and stuff when she was like 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I was like, hell no. And my cousin, Brittany, would go in there and say there was no one in there, but Macy would talk to her and stuff. And then the other one, this is what happened to me. For y'all that don't know, where we live, there's a lot of Civil War memorials, and there is one in Resaca/Calhoun area.
The one we went to?
Yes.
Yeah.
The first time I ever went to it was with one of my ex-girlfriends, and she took me there because she knew I loved history, and I do. I love history. This place, you honest to God feel like you do not belong there at night. The way it's set up, all the memorial stones are set up like in big, like circular motion, and it just has this feeling like, especially at night, like in the day it's very beautiful, but at night you feel like you do not belong there. And
at the cemetery?
Yeah. And the first time she took me there, we were getting out of the car and I heard something. And then there is stories that say like there's two to three things you can experience there, especially at night. You can hear like soft drums, like the boys that would march with the armies.
Yeah.
Or you can hear like people or gunshots and stuff. And then when the train comes through at night across the train tracks that are right next to it, you can see like spirits. Some people have claimed to see spirits. When we got out, I instantly felt like there was something else there. And I started, like, I swear, I heard the drumming and people's voices.
Wow.
And as soon as I heard that, I got back, I was like, let's get back. I was like, I really don't want to get out. And that's like, whenever we went there, I was so, like, ticky about, like...
it was definitely creepy because, one, there's no light.
No.
It's pitch black. I mean, most cemeteries that you're around, whether it be...
And it's not like most cemeteries where it's in a field.
Yeah,
it's in the woods.
Yeah, it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. on a side road.
Yeah.
For one, that goes from paved road to concrete, or not concrete, but gravel. And it's like, like you said, it's in the middle of the woods, and it's nowhere. There's no lighting. The only light you're going to have is on your phone or if you leave your headlights on. So yeah, it's pretty creepy to be around. Because like I was saying, most cemeteries are like, in a lit place or something like that. This one is not at all, and so yeah, it's very, very creepy for sure in that area.
And yeah, and don't get me wrong, I like exploring stuff like that. Like, I want to go to Savannah for that reason, because I mean, we have the luxury to live pretty close in proximity to 3 of the most haunted cities in America. I guess some people wouldn't say luxury, but I think we live at the most 8 hours away, and that'd be New Orleans.
Yeah.
And then St. Augustine, which was the first city or establishment in America and considered to be one of the most haunted, and Savannah.
Well, people also tend to forget, Dalton's haunted too.
Yeah.
Apparently. I mean, I've been on a ghost tour, but I wouldn't even really call it a ghost tour. You're just kind of like walking around and whatnot. You don't have the luxury of going inside like I think you can in like St. Augustine or places like that. Well, I mean,
St. Augustine, you can go into the oldest fort in America on the ghost tour.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Here in Dalton, you don't get to go inside of anything. They just walk you around a block. Like, I could take you on my own and find out what the stories are. But yeah, there's like a whole website devoted to the hauntings in Georgia alone.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there are for each state, but there is a lot, especially like in the Atlanta area, because from the Civil War, the fires, them burning down underground. Apparently there's parts of underground Atlanta that are
the original city
cemented off because of the hauntings and everything like that's happened.
But it's the original city that got burnt. And yeah, I want to experience that stuff. And I guess this leads kind of into our first thing. Like, the first time, I think this was before the ghost truck. Was Sinister before the ghost truck? Or
nope.
around this? I was after? I honestly don't know what scared me more, but we were at one of our best friend's house, and one of our other buddies was there, and we were like, fuck it, let's watch a scary movie. And before this, I hardly ever watch scary movies. Like, I'm a huge pussy, or puss, or whatever. Couldn't stand watching them. But as we've gotten older, I've started watching more of them. Well, someone was like, well, let's watch Sinister. And our buddy was like, oh no, that movie sucks, you don't want to watch that, blah, blah, blah.
Movie doesn't suck.
He went to sleep as soon as the movie started. The reason he didn't want to watch it is because he's already seen it before and it scared the living shit out of him. So, spoilers to anyone that hasn't watched this movie, but about halfway through, Ethan Hawke's character finds this box of old film in the attic and starts watching it. And it's all the murders of the families. And partway through that footage, Sinister, the boogeyman, pops out at him, and he goes flying backwards out of the stairs. The exact moment that the face appeared, we were in our buddy's bedroom, and we're the only people at home. And the way his bedroom's set up, it's kind of like a big L. And the very far part at the top of the L is the attic door. And you cannot open that door from the inside. But it opens inwards, like into the attic, not into his room.
The door opened, more or less.
Yeah.
On its own.
It slammed open, and there's no draft in that room. Our friend that was asleep woke up instantly and started accusing us of like, he was like, who did it? I know one of y'all fuckers did it. And it probably took us 20 to 30 minutes to go shut that door because we were all so freaked out.
It was bad.
And we swore we saw something in there at the time. I mean, it was terrifying. And we were the only people in the house. We didn't even sleep up there that night.
I don't think we did.
No, we went and slept in the living room.
Yeah, I think we all slept downstairs because it was...
Like, besides the story we're about to tell...
Oh, I thought I heard something. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
But yeah, that was a scary night for sure.
And then I guess I'll go ahead and go into the next story because it's tangentially related to demons.
Yeah,
ghosts. Yeah. We decided to go with some of our friends that I doubt are listening to this podcast. So
yeah, because we're not friends anymore.
Not really. They showed us some stuff in Murray County, and then we were like, well, do y'all want to go see what is considered to be a devil worshiping church? For people that don't really know what I'm talking about, it's in the Hickory Flats area.
Yeah, where the KKK are at around here. For those of y'all that don't know.
So we're going down. What's that road?
Tilton Road.
Yeah, it was Old Tilton, wasn't it?
But Tilton, Old Tilton, whatever.
Well, we're going down this road, and there are 6 of us in this Jeep Patriot. So I'm sitting in the very back. And we're already kind of spooked out because we'd been telling stories all night, and this was about hour 3, probably.
Yeah, we hung out for a long time.
People that don't know Tilton / Hickory Flats area, that area is fucked. Like, it is so dark over there. It's just terrifying. Like, everything over there, like, there's nothing that like, I don't get why people live over there. Does not feel safe at all. So we're going down this road, and all of a sudden this big truck comes out of nowhere. Now I'm sitting in the very back area by myself behind the seats. This truck is probably going 70 miles an hour down that road.
It's flying. It caught up to us. We didn't even, for one.
Well, I started freaking out, and they're like, what the hell's your problem? And then they realized that this truck was not slowing down at all.
Yeah, it was.
They got inches from the bumper. We went over the train tracks over there at probably 80 miles an hour. Like, we literally flew.
Yeah, 6 people in a Jeep Patriot or whatever the heck it was. We basically jumped to that railroad track.
And this dude whatever it was, never slowed down. Like, I'm screaming because I literally think we're about to get murdered or ran off the road. And like, by this point, everyone's freaking out because this was probably 3 to 4 minutes of this truck just nonstop on our ass, came out of nowhere. Dude never slowed down. Like, and we get to the turn to go either back towards civilization in the interstate or to go towards that church. And I tell our friend that was driving to flip his blinker on right and turn it left. And he does. We never even stopped. We didn't even slow down, really. And we go on that road, and that truck turns right. That truck immediately stopped. Like, you literally see the truck stop and the lights turn off, like it just stopped. We went and turned around in that church parking lot. Maybe not even 20 seconds later, the truck's gone. Nowhere in sight. We were all freaked out. I mean, rightfully so, I would say, but like...
Yeah, it was scary for sure, mainly because, you know, you're out just trying to have a good time, and you got Derek over here in the back freaking out, and you're just like, you know, what the heck? And I think I was the second one to notice. First one after him, you know, as I turn around and I look, and I'm just like, oh shit, you know, what's going on? Because the side road that it came off of is on a hill, and for one, when we passed it, there's no truck there. There's no sign of headlights.
And as fast as the truck was going, and the way that road is, you would have saw those headlights coming.
Yeah, whether it was on that road or it was coming behind us. And mind you, the road we're on is a little curvy, so at the time before we noticed, the truck behind us, we're following the speed limit. And of course, you got a lot of people in a car. You're not going to want to, try to risk anything. So, the lights would have been seen regardless.
Yeah, because I was looking out the back as it was, because just the way
the way he was sitting in the back, so he had no choice but to stare out the back glass. But as quick as it approached us, so quickly after we passed that side road, there's no doubt in my mind.
The way the side road comes in, it comes in like right at a turn pretty much in the main road, and we get around that turn and that truck is right there. We would have saw its lights coming down that side road, because that side road's straight up till that point.
Yeah,
that it was like they were almost waiting for someone. Like,
and it was just a scary thing to see, because like I said, you don't know where this truck came from. It's riding our ass
like to the point that I have a size 12 shoe. I couldn't have put my shoe in between our bumper and its bumper.
Yeah, he was.
And I was like in tears pretty much.
That breeze feels good. Well, we all were. We were, everybody in the car is cussing and freaking out because this dude is on our ass like, we stole something off of his property and he's trying to catch up to us and chase us. And then, like he said, we throw our blinker on to turn right, but we turn left and the truck turns right.
And immediately stops
and is like waiting on us, and we stop too, because we're like, what the heck? And I'm just like, nah, go. And so we get turned around, and literally where we're at, there's a church. Not the one that we were going to, but a different one. We pull into their parking lot, and the second we get out, which it doesn't take long to go through the parking lot.
Like I said, maybe at the most 30 seconds.
I wouldn't even go that far.
Yeah.
Probably 10 to 15 is what it took us to pull in and turn around. But there's no truck in sight. There's no taillights.
Yeah, and that road's straight for...
Yeah, it's straight.
Literally, you could see a car about a mile.
It's straight till you get to the interstate.
Yeah. Nothing.
And so, with 12 eyes in the car, you think one of them would have seen this truck like pull into somebody's yard or whatever, but no. Instead, it just like vanished.
And I never stopped looking behind us, even after we turned, because I was so terrified.
Yeah, it was a scary night. And like if you're from around here and you've been to this church,
then you know
you know what church we're talking about. It's that house of prayer off of Tilton that is boarded up. It's supposedly got security cameras. We've gone there multiple times. I mean, we haven't went inside. I'm too scared to go inside.
One time when one of our friends was going to go inside, we got there. The windows are wide open. There was a fucking chair outside. There was red X's and crosses all over the place.
Yeah, I went one time. I think this might have been the same night, and it's got a gate in front of the door. Well, the gate flew open. There was no wind. Well, there might have been, because it was raining.
Because that's when Jake was walking up to the front of it.
I was driving, and it was raining, and the gate opened, and by itself. So no, and the way it opened, the wind wouldn't have been able to push because it opened out, I don't know, like a normal door would. It opened out instead of in. So we know the wind didn't push it open. And I told them, I was like, just get back in the car, and everybody got back in, and I drove off.
Well, and didn't someone say when we were driving off they swore they saw someone standing in the door?
I think that's what they said, but I mean, I don't know if that's true, because of course I was driving, so I wasn't looking.
Yeah.
But it's been a minute since the last time I've been there.
It's been at least a year.
Well, you was with us then, wasn't you, when we all went?
Ben.
Yeah. We went trailing with a bunch of friends, and I think there was like a train in front of us, and I was like, well, hey, let's go right here. And, we all got out and we looked, but, like I said, certain things like that I just don't want to fully mess with. Because, like I said, I don't deal with like demons or anything like that. And last thing I want is for one to attach itself to me or anything like that. I don't fully believe in all that stuff, but I'm not brave enough to tap into it.
Yeah. Literally every time we went to that place, something
strange has always happened.
Yeah. Because later that night, the night we went trailing, we thought we got busted.
We went on private property, which
dumb on us.
Which is funny because it ended up being one of the guy's boyfriend's family's area, their hunting area.
Yeah.
They caught us all on camera, of course, but the way we were going was in a straight line from the entrance, and we saw lights.
We get to the first big hill where you can see back.
And there's headlights pointing in, and you can obviously see people are out in that way. So you kind of get freaked out, and you get back or you get out of there, and the first thing you want to do is just split, and that's exactly what we done. So every time we've gone around that church or messed with it in any type of way, it's like something that night always ends up going not according to plan.
Yeah, and there's a lot of not necessarily scary, but just weird shit that has happened with us. Weird stories I've heard. Just for example, like I've been told that old like a cabin looking thing at Holly Creek was the site of a murder.
Yeah,
murderers.
That's what we've always told people that have been up there with us for the first time. Because, that's what we've been told. So, it's just like, the things that, I was talking about earlier with my friends in their houses in Mexico. I mean, that's, the stories that you're told and passed down. So, that's what you're going to continue to pass on to others. And, I mean, sure, if I'm fortunate enough to have kids one day and I take them down that way, I'm going to tell them the same thing. I'm going to fuck with them.
I got one more story, and I don't know how I forgot this. This is the one I should have said. Anyone that went to Southeast probably already knows what I'm about to talk about.
Southeast?
The kids?
Southeast being haunted?
Yes.
Yeah.
For those of you that do not know, or didn't go to Southeast, there is long been rumored that the school's haunted by children, and most of the staff believed it. Like, I was told by a teacher.
Yeah, former principals have heard kids bouncing basketball
or just
down the hall, or a ball in general,
laughing and playing.
Yeah, so.
And one of my favorite teachers told me this story, and he would always tell us scary stories. He's the one that told me about his haunted experience in Mexico in the old churches, which he swears like most terrifying he's ever been in his life. But he says that one of the first years he ever worked at Southeast, he was there late, like 9 o'clock. He was one of the last people to leave. That he heard kids playing around the foreign hall classrooms.
Yeah, and that's where they were at, down towards the ag part.
And he didn't know what it was at first, and one of the other teachers came out, and because he was about to go that way, and she told him no. and she wouldn't talk about it. And she told him later, when he told us that, because he would turn out the lights, tell scary stories on Halloween or whatever day we were closest to Halloween to him in his class. I didn't believe him until I think my sophomore or junior year. We come back with the band, and everyone says that if it's a foggy day or foggy night, you can actually see the kids' shadows on the side of the band room.
Huh.
Like on the outside.
Yeah.
And just see them playing with a ball.
Like the outside of the actual building?
Yeah, like the backside you can see from student pickup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part. And one night, we get back really late from competition. It's like 1 a.m. And there's so many people in the main bathrooms in the art hall, we decided to go out to the office bathrooms and get some water. Well, a couple of us are talking, and someone goes, "Hey, shut up." And we hear doom, doom, doom. And then you hear like, kids just laughing.
Damn.
And one of my friends, his eyes just bulged. He was like, and we were all like shaking, hair on edge. My hair just stood up saying that. But we heard that kid, and all of a sudden we heard it like 3 kids just take off running towards us. And for y'all that don't know, there's probably 50 feet between the S and the art hall's entrance, or maybe more than that. 50 to 100 feet from the S to where the art hall is, like the double doors.
Okay, I was about to say, if you're meaning I thought you were meaning like the entrance of the hall. I would say, no, bro, it's right there at the S.
No.
But yeah, it's something like that.
We were right there at the S, at the water fountain, getting water and the bathrooms when we heard that, and that's pretty close to the Foreign Hall. And as soon as we heard, one of us just started running as soon as we heard the steps taking off. And it just snapped in all of us to get the hell out of there. And we did. We ran straight back into the art hall and slammed it shut behind us. And we heard that laughing go straight by through the S, towards the other side of the school.
Damn. Hell nah.
And there is the next principal, she won't talk about it.
Miss Phillips?
Yeah, but apparently she chased her and one of the other principals chased kids after a basketball game for an hour and went to go review
trying to find them.
Yeah, went to go review the footage, only saw them, heard the laughing, didn't ever find the kids. It's creepy.
Yeah, like I said, Dalton's definitely got its things. I mean, apparently the downtown is real haunted. You got the Wink, of course, the cemetery. You got Gravity Hill.
Yeah, apparently you can put a flower on your car and park on the train tracks, and you'll get kid handprints all over your vehicle.
Huh. I haven't.
Or Indian handprints. I can't remember.
Yeah, of course it's Indian. Everybody. The Indians are always tied into something.
Well, I mean, they do have ties to this area. The Cherokee do at least, but
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind staying overnight at Red Clay and seeing if you can hear whispers in the wind or anything like that. I think that would be honestly that would let me know for sure.
Having Native American heritage and some of the stories I've heard, that's something.
Yeah, like the one you told me.
Oh, I'll tell that probably on a different podcast because we're getting up there now, but one of my friends told me a podcast that his very hard Jesus is the answer, I don't believe in demons grandmother told him, and she would only tell it to him whenever she would get super messed up drunk because she couldn't deal with thinking about it.
Yeah. And
she would just tell him. But that story alone is enough reason for me not to mess with Native American.
Yeah, you talking about the one that you told me?
Yes.
Yeah, that one made me want to figure it out.
Yeah, and my great grandmother is half Cherokee, so where she lives in North Carolina, there's a lot of stories like that.
Oh, I bet so.
And yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the end for episode 1 into spooky season. I guess that's what this little...
Enter the spook.
Yeah, this little... my bad. This little series, I guess we can call it, spooky season, or... I don't know, we'll figure it out. Yeah, by the way the title goes, with this going into YouTube, I'll probably make a playlist for it. Get that out of the way,
because this is not connected to the main.
Yeah,
pod.
this is not the main podcast. This is just something that
we wanted to do separate.
Yeah, we wanted to just kind of share, different things, like how Halloween is to us and things like that, or just this spooky season, as we're calling it. I guess weekly, or maybe 2 times a week we'll do something like this. Who knows?
I have several ideas for episodes.
Yeah, it's a work in progress, as this
and
whole podcast is.
This will probably get extra people to come on.
Yeah, possibly so.
Especially because I feel like we should do a horror movie one, and I feel like we should.
What do you mean?
Like a horror movie episode for this, like just talking about scary movies.
Oh yeah, we can definitely do that. I mean, there's a lot that goes into this, because think about it. We're 90s kids, so that's when all the good scary Disney movies came out, things like that. Halloween's always been like my favorite holiday, just because of the shit you can get into, the things you can do. The walkthroughs, the movies. Not too big on the candy, don't really care. I'm too old for trick-or-treating and stuff like that. But dressing up and seeing the way like all these costumes are nowadays. You got people that are like heavy into cosplay, and they come out for Halloween, that's for sure. But yeah, spooky season has a lot in store for us, as far as the podcast and outside of the podcast. But yeah, check us out on Instagram. I will make an Instagram for this podcast. I guess it's gonna be No Offense But Podcast. I'll figure it out. I'll end up probably linking it on the YouTube whenever this gets posted. So be on the lookout for that. I guess that's the show for day 1 of spooky season, with us here on the show.
Yeah.
Any closing words?
Don't go into get too much of a thrill or chills.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely the season for it.
But don't go too far and fuck up, because you could die, or
really
2
fuck up.
really fuck up and traumatize yourself, and that's not worth it. At the end of the day, I've been spooked pretty bad, and I have my limits now, so that's for sure. All right, thank you for tuning in to episode 1 of Spooky Season. Be on the lookout for the next entry into this series, and we will see you next week for the weekly podcast.
Good night and good frights, people.